Okay. So, things are getting a little crazy where you're at, huh? How can we take control of this story, huh? How do we get on top of this spin? Because a lot of times, even though you're one person, you might have a strong sense of self. You could be 1,000 different things to 1,000 different people. Thought Squad is playing right now on some B at STFU. She ain't trying to hear that shit. I'm about to fight up. Sometimes you have to take an aggressive approach to resetting things, but that does kind of make you a bully. But there's a light attribute into being a bully, apparently. I love this deck. It allows you to confront fears. And, like, I guess it gets dangerous when your self-assertion starts to infringe on somebody else's, like, freedom. But if it just makes people uncomfortable, I don't think that's a bad reason to continue to aggressively assert your truth. Sometimes a little bit of force, even in just in your volume or your delivery, the energy is enough to like show that like you're not fucking playing around without you even getting your hand in the game. The other option is to kind of like hermit, like pull yourself from society. And like I think it's okay to go into hermit mode for like temporary periods to kind of like rest and like recenter. You can get a lot of spiritual lessons from being by yourself. However, if your plan is to lock yourself into a cave of your own design for time eternal, so you never have to face the story that the world has constructed for you because you feel uncomfortable in it, the story that you've created for yourself is that you don't want to exist in this world anymore. And that requires some mental health support at the bare minimum, you know what I mean? So the answer, I feel like, is somewhere in between these things, where you're not forcing a narrative, but you're not submitting to one that you don't agree with. So there's something about like asserting your own story firmly. Sorry, I got bricked and I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, firmly asserting your story in a way that causes a little bit of harm. Yeah, and there's something about also just like sometimes you might want to feed into another narrative if it's cooler. Like, even if you don't feel that it's true, if you feel like a different narrative is like more empowering and it doesn't hurt anyone, why not reinvent yourself that night? Yeah, burn down who you used to be and be a brand new you literally tomorrow. I just realized that I dress like the inner emo that I've always felt. And so it's wild for people to see me like this, but in my mind, I was always emo. I was wearing blazers, but in my soul, it was giving. When I was. Yeah, some of changing the narrative might involve obscuring parts of your story that you might have been more open with in the past. This is tough for oversharers or people who are used to like trauma dumping as like a social activity that like You might not want to lead the conversation with every single knife that's been jabbed into your heart. You might want to start with fun hobbies that you like. Or like, it might involve you, on the contrary, sharing things that you've never shared before. And I think it requires like an acknowledgement and an acknowledgement of your surroundings, right? Because if you got 6 people about ready to beat your ass and take your reputation away, you might want to be a little bit more guarded than you would be in another situation. I think understanding situational context really helps to build into how you define yourself. That being said, like sometimes you might just want to like free yourself from any kind of construct and just dive into your divine nature. You know, meditate, shamanic journey, guided medicinal practice. And you might find that what you are is something so separate from anything that you've ever identified with before. Yes, the alchemist in reverse. You want to get so out of this world ethereally that you don't even identify it with it anymore. So that when you land back into it, you're like a newborn baby with the experiences of a 30-year-old man. It's fun. And by fun, I mean you could go crazy. So that's why I said guidance is very important if you take that path. You can also find yourself through art, which can be slightly safer, you know, if you're not ready to go the full shaman route, which I don't recommend because some people just lose their minds and never find them again. But if you dive into your art, I think you're far more likely to find yourself without completely losing yourself first. I hope that was helpful. Oh yeah, and going out into nature. You know, even if it's just stepping outside your front door and looking at the sky and then looking at the grass and then like looking at a tree, that does wonders if you're a shut-in, bro. For real. That balcony life, ooh, it got me. It taught me like why old people was always sitting outside on the front porch. But if you indulge into different aspects of yourself, and especially if you consider the entire world as an extension of yourself, I think you'll find a lot of interesting stories in there. And then it's really up to you to find the one that you like the most, that you think is the most provoking, that you think will attract the people who you want to have around you. And yeah, that's a way to switch the narrative up for sure. If you like what you hear, I have more videos on YouTube and TikTok. Some of them are silly. I'm also on Instagram and Threads, being a silly Billy as well. If you want more serious advice, you can also get a personal reading from me on a pay-what-you-can basis, or a Reiki session. I hope to see you later. I miss you.